Ever wondered if there's a Swiss Army knife of cycling? One that could master Sunday rides, bit of racing, duathlon, maybe some triathlon, probably even some TT? Well, strap yourself in because we're going to take a good look at the ELVES Falath EVO. Bit of a mouthful. Right, here we go then. So, because I'm so great at doing YouTube videos and can't stand the sound of my own voice, let alone looking at myself on a YouTube channel, I have roped in the help of Chat AI to draft a series of questions to make this potentially more engaging. So without further ado, let's get started. Hopefully it'll guide me through the process a little bit better, and we'll end up with a video at the end that people actually get something out of, rather than me rambling on for about 2 hours and then obviously everyone falls asleep at that point. So without further ado, question number 1. So tell us, what drew you to the bike model? Was it love at first sight, or did it grow over time? So I think for me, yeah, love at first sight. It's a great looking bike. I'd looked around, decided that TT bike wasn't really where I wanted to sort of land myself last season, and I needed a bike that was going to potentially do everything, but only one bike that would do it all. So as you can see from the introduction, yeah, a Swiss Army knife of bikes. It needs to be able to road cycle on the weekend. I need to be able to get into a TT or fairly comfortable triathlon position. It also has to look good. You know, it just is what it is, but it also has to be really good value for money, and that is a massive tick in the box. Overview of the bike. Can you give us a quick rundown of the bike model and its key features? What makes it stand out from the crowd? So for me, quick rundown of the bike. You've got, I've added in my EZDISC cover to the rear wheel, lovely set of 50mm Oron Valor, I think that's how you pronounce it, wheels. They are carbon, they are nice and light, they've got ceramic bearings, full specs on the website. I'm not going to sit here and quote off every single spec, but the key things for me were that they could be run tubeless, which they are. They are light in weight, can't quote exactly what that is, but they are light. I could put my nice tyres on there, and I can run it tubeless with a nice internal diameter that will give me a good rolling resistance out on the road. Obviously pair it with the, you know, both wheels are exactly the same, so I could put my disc cover on there. I've not sacrificed on the width of the wheel or the tyre or anything else, and it's pretty optimal for me. Got the chainring cover on there. I've got the 52 tooth chainring on there, running SRAM, combination of SRAM Force and Red. I've got Force chain. Red crank arms, they're 165mm, ceramic speed rear jockey, because everyone needs one of those because they look good. I have no idea whether it actually gives any benefit at all, but it just looks good. Red rear derailleur, all fully wireless, which makes it nice. I can incorporate my Force hoods, which I've got on there, set up with the standard handlebars. I've also added in some extensions which I've got from AliExpress. I get millions of messages all the time asking me where I've got them from, so I'll drop a link in the comments. You can help yourself. They do fit lovely on the standard bar there, and I've had no issues with it at all, so can't fault that. And that was one of the options. I mean, it was a must tick in the box for me to have that, so I could actually get into a TT or comfortable enough TT position for my racing. It's a size 52 frame. I'm running I think it's a Physic, can't remember off the top of my head, saddle. I've got my rear bottle mount, which again has probably come off of eBay or somewhere online, with me 2 cages off of AliExpress. And that's pretty much it. Got an Elite bottle there. It's a bit of a hack actually. It's got a cut out. I've cut the back of it. I don't know if you can see there. And that's what I keep all my bike storage in, because obviously these bottles are really good for staying on the bike. So so I run that on there with a bit of grip on the inside, and it stays nicely in place. I've decided to move away from the on the frame bottle there, and I'll be running one behind the saddle and then one up front for this season. Got the nice Garmin mount on there, and that's pretty much it. Disc brakes, very low fuss. Yeah, good bike. Looking at its design, what would you say says about the person riding it? Well, obviously he's an absolute legend. I mean, to pick this bike, you've got to be. Anyway, all jokes aside, yeah, I think this bike for me, I needed to be able to ride cycle on the weekend, and I need to be able to time trial on it. That's pretty much it for me. But also, I don't want to go out on Sunday with my TT extensions on there with the group, and then sort of look like the keen triathlete within the pack. So it's nice to take that off, and then I can go and do a sportive. You can see I haven't even had time to take the bars up yet, but that's more down to me being a numpty and getting the wrong size bars. So what I would sort of suggest is that if you understand your reach as in sort of seat and position on the bike and where you're going to stretch out to, for me, I mean, I could run that slammed, and that is really comfortable in a nice cycling position. But to get a more optimal position, I think for the duathlon or triathlon sort of stuff that I'll be doing, I just need that little bit more reach forward. So I've opted to, I think they're 100. I think they're 90, it might be a 90 stem 100. But I'm just going to give it another 30mm reach on there, run it Filippo Ganno style, yeah, I'll have a nice position on there. Does the bike come with any customization options, accessories, or that might enhance its practicality? So, to be fair, like, I'll go back to it again, it's value for money. So we're not saying it's a cheap bike, because it's not. It gives real value in what you could go and buy. You know, if you walked into the shop and you said, look, I want this bike now, I mean, I'm just lucky. It would be expensive, but I'm lucky I had sort of the bits that I've had from other bikes before, and I've taken them off and saved that to one side. I think on the website, I think it's 1,500-ish British pounds at the time to get purely just the frame, the wheels, the bars, but the bits you get with it, I mean, it's outstanding actually. So you order it, gets done out the factory, or might add as well custom colour, so you can pick your colour. And I've gone for this sick looking blue and purple, which I really like. It's quite a head turner actually. It matches all my race kit and everything else. So, but the ordering process is really easy. I was really fortunate, and I think I'd recommend this as well. If you can go and see Simon and SJ, get yourself down the South Coast and just have a nice catch up with them and sort of see what your options are. It's really beneficial is that you can, you could, if they've got, depending on what stock they've got, the time, sizing, everything else, you can get yourself sized up. I mean, that's why I landed sort of, I think I'm quite short in the body, quite tall in the legs, so I've landed probably between sizes. Could have gone for a 54, but actually the 52 allows me to slam the stem where I'm quite short in the torso. If I add that little bit of reach with the new bar, it's getting me into the position. But yeah, delivery process straightforward, realistic. You've got to be realistic. It's coming from China, I think abroad. I'm not even going to say where it comes. Yeah, it comes. You order it, it arrive. Don't worry about that. It's easy. You pick your colour and that's it. All online. Any questions you can go through the team. The UK team are great, and I know if you go on Instagram, that's probably where a lot of the information I found. There's loads of different units around. So depending on where you are in the world, you've got some support. Fairly realistic with times. You've got to give yourself. It's a custom paint. So you're choosing something, unless they've got something in stock, you'll get it a bit quicker. But I'd say realistically, I mean, I was lucky. I got in there before Christmas. I knew that there was going to be the Christmas holidays and not really a lot going on, and it's probably been about six weeks, I think, and that was really quick. But I'd be realistic, just go 6 to 12 weeks. Give yourself plenty of time, and your bike arrived. When it did turn up, lovely big box inside. I had absolutely everything I needed to build the bike, so all the bits, all the accessories, the saddle, the post, the clamps, everything else, the bars, basically everything you need to put that bike together is in the box. You just need your components that you're going to put on it, and that's if you do decide to self-build. If not, you've got full bike options available, and you can go and wheel it out the showroom from Elves. So it's the experience for me. I can't moan at all. Great. What's the feature of the bike model, we're looking at features and technology at the minute, that sets it apart in terms of technology and innovation? For me, I quite like the rear chunky chainstays there. That's a nice look for me. It sort of gives it that sort of real aggressive sort of look, and maybe have some aerodynamic gains with it, possibly. I don't know, but it just looks really cool. I think that's what drew me in. I like the wide forks at the front. I don't know, that's personal preference. I just like that, you've got a nice big gap there with the tyre in there. You can potentially run, I don't know, I've had 32mm tyres on this, no issues at all. And I think what draws most people into this bike, and I think for me personally, is that it's got that real sort of invisible sort of stems merged into the frame look to it. So I think that gives it quite an aggressive look. When you've obviously not got the extensions on there, it does make the bike look stand out. So I think that's my sort of number one point. How does the bike model, well, the ELVES EVO, incorporate modern tech? Are there smart features that cyclists will love? Well, not. I think it doesn't stand out and do anything else any other bike would do. However, it's not doing anything I wouldn't want it to do. It's landed right in the right place for me. I can put all my wireless shifting on there, my disc brakes, everything else is set up. I don't run 2 by, I run 1 by. So for me, it's just ease of use for what I'm doing. It means I can swap a rear wheel out, different size cassettes, and yeah, it keeps me happy. So yeah, all good. Performance review. How does the bike model handle the demands of road cycling and hill climbing? So I live in Surrey and it's not a flat place to live. So if I do go out, and I've done, I'd say 3 training rides on it. I've raced on it twice since I built it up. Generally for me, that's enough time for me to know whether I've made a good choice with the bike or not. And yeah, it's a solid yes. It's not flat here. The training loops that I use pretty much are test loops anyway, so I'll do a lot of my indoor cycling through the winter, and then when it's sort of race time I'll be out and about, but I'll always incorporate some challenging sort of hill terrain, so no issues going up with this. I like the position I've got. It's really comfortable actually for what's probably quite an aggressive looking bike. It's comfy. No issues going up hills. If anything, looking at the Strava data, if you were really getting into it, I'd say I'm probably a little bit quicker on this bike. And yeah, it's comfy. The extensions on a flat or even into the drops, yeah, you can hammer down and get some real power out of it. So in terms of performance, no issues at all. What's been your personal experience with the bike's performance? Any memorial rides or moments? So I've raced on this literally last weekend, and I've come away just wanting to race more, which is I do get like that anyway, but I feel that yeah, I get on this bike and it's comfortable, and I'm not getting off of it thinking, oh, I don't know whether I've got my position quite right, or is it set up, is it giving me the performance that I need out of the bike. I've actually come away going, I want to race again, which is really good, bonus. But also it is a really good bike, and I'm not just saying that. I've paid for this bike, the frame and the wheels. I've been kindly gifted the handlebars and an extra wheel so I could run this cover off of it, and that was in terms of me putting a logo on my suit for the season. Being an age group athlete, it's really important to me to support brands, but also work together and create a bit of a team. So there's no bias in this review. Like I bought this bike because it ticked the value box and it looks awesome. But yeah, it's definitely left me wanting to get back on. But also there's tweaks that I can make to improve. But looking at previous races that I've done, same course, I did an extra lap on there this weekend, and I'm within 0.2 of a mile an hour average. Quicker than I was on my previous bike, which I probably spent a hell of a lot of time getting set up and dialed in on. So to do an extra lap and be just that little bit quicker, it's really encouraging, and it just sort of says once I've got my next bars on and I've got that settled back into that position a little bit more and more used to the bike, it's only going to be better trajectory there. So I'm really happy. If the bike had one weakness or something you could change, what would it be? What would I change? Weakness of the bike. Okay, yeah, there's potentially for me only one thing that I would change with this bike. That's going to be the saddle for me, but it's not a deal breaker, because what you've got the setback there. It's in the middle central position anyway. So for me being a duathlete, or if you were going to do some TTs, you've got the option. This post will actually flip around, so you could get forward more probably over the cranks. I think that's probably the only thing for me. To be fair, I've gone pretty much to the front of it. I'm not getting off the bike, I'm not suffering on a run, so it could just be placebo or mental, like where and go and have a bike fit. and get yourself in a wind tunnel if you're that serious about wanting to be a bit quicker. Me personally, I know I train this position on my watt bike in the winter, so generally the power I'm putting out there is going to be coming out on the bike, so I'm not concerned, and I don't feel like I'm suffering for it not being forward, and I think it's probably forward enough. But like I say, I've got the option to flip the stem forward and I could get forward a bit more, but you could potentially make the rail a bit more neutral, and then that would allow that forward position a little bit more, but it's no biggie for me. But that is probably quite good if that's all I can pick faults with the bike. There's absolutely nothing else that I've found that I'm looking at going, oh, I wish I had that. And that's the thing for me that makes me then go, I've not got the right bike, because you sit there going, oh, if only it did that. Whereas when I had the TT bike, I was like, well, I had a gravel bike, had the TT, but I was like, I wish I could just jump on it and go out on a weekend ride without being on my TT bike. So there isn't anything that I'm sitting here going, oh, I wouldn't mind doing this or that. I'm happy. It gives me the versatility that I need it to do. So good question. Practicality and versatility. Considering the versatility from time trials to triathlons, who would you think would be the perfect rider for the ELVES EVO? So yeah, so I think that brings it on to being it can be a comfortable bike. You've got lots, you don't have to cut that fork steel down. You can have that adjustable height there. You've got plenty of spaces, so in terms of comfort, you could get really set up well on this. Reach is personal choice. The bars are customizable out the factory, so you get a choice of width and length, so just making sure you measure up properly. Yeah, I think for practicality, there's nothing the bike can't do, and I've talked about it loads. And you've got the accessories that you could add onto it. Elves are going to bring their own TT bars out potentially. You could put TT bars on it. You could make that a full triathlon bike if you wanted to, and I actually think with it being a UCI frame, it's probably a really good idea. Hence, I think the only drawback for me is that if they did get more, you can flip that post, so I'd just buy another post, have two saddles, have it set up, one flipped, and then you can put your extensions on and off you go, or have it fully, get two frames maybe, if that's what you're into, and you can have a road bike and a TT bike. But for me, this bike needs to do it all this year. It's the only bike I've got. Don't have any other bikes now, hence, selling the other one, which is a good decision. And it just makes me want to get out, and the only bike I'm going to ride is this, so it's a win. Anything that you could enhance accessories wise, probably not really. I mean, yeah, I love my chainring cover, it's great. There's a lot of aero covers that you can get on there. The rear wheel cover, I can't, I'm going to knock this off the side, kitchen side. There we go, we're safe. Yeah, I can't fault that rear disc cover. It's Easy Gains one. I'm not promoting them or plugging them, but there is a review video on that. And again, I need to do another one, because I have gone, funny old thing, from that to a solid TT disc wheel, and I've reverted back to that. And for me, it was because these wheels were better to run that, because I can run the same width tyres front and back. It's easy. There's no difference in that wheel than a disc wheel, so for me it ticks the boxes, and it's fine. So yeah, the water bottle hack's a good one. I quite like that, because tool storage, unless you could get a company like Absolute Speed or somewhere like that to do you could get them to measure that up potentially, and then move another water bottle into here. It's just an easy way to get your tool storage on there. If not, you've got rear bottle mounts, so you could probably put that there, or put a bag there to put your bits in. Yeah. Final thoughts and ratings. So weighing all the pros and cons, how would you rate the bike model overall? For me, yeah, it's 10 out of 10. Again, you can see from probably the enthusiastic approach of how I am towards the bike. I love the colour, I like the bike. There's nothing, I'm not sitting here going, oh, I shouldn't have bought it, or there's something else out there that's offering something that this isn't. Yeah, I give it a solid rating on this. It's ticking the box. Would you recommend the bike model to others, and under what circumstances? So yeah, I would. I definitely would, because you've got the tyre clearance there that you could put, and I've raced with 32mm tyres on there. Me personally, I did notice that I was probably a little bit slower on those tyres, but that's probably just me. But you've also got the comfort there. Our roads aren't that great here. It's pothole central, and it's a bit rumbly on the old tarmac. So 32s for training and just getting out there absolutely spot on. You probably could squeeze 33, 34, maybe. Not that you really need to. I think 32 is quite adequate for the roads. I race on 28s, which I find is quite a nice compromise, again, purely because of how the roads are. I think a lot of real racers would probably go something a little bit narrower, but it all depends on what surface you're riding and what you're doing, really. So for me to run that tubeless as it is, perfect. Yeah, I'm happy. I've got nothing bad to say. What's next? Yeah, I mean, if you like the bike, like the video, chuck some questions in the comments. If you want me, I might do another follow-up video. Obviously, I've raced on it a couple of times. Yeah, it's not a bad bike. I mean, it's quick enough that, you know, I can get the, I don't know, the third fastest bike split in a race. You know, it's definitely delivering as far as I'm concerned in terms of performance. It's not a setback. If anything, I'm more excited to get out there. Gonna have another race on it this weekend. Yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. Hit subscribe if you want to see another video from me in a year's time, because that's how much time I have to sit down and do these videos. But yeah, happy days. Thanks for watching.